Hi there. Welcome to The PrevenTable, the podcast giving you a seat at the table with conversations about the intersection of alcohol, drugs, and mental health in everyday lives. Take a seat and join us.
Welcome to The PrevenTable. With me today is a dear friend, and this is I want to say the third time we've had a representative on from this organization. But it's her first time. But before we get into that, I just want to obviously give a shout out to Hubbard, because we would not be here able to do this without Hubbard Radio, without Patty, our amazing board member. And it's just amazing that we have this awesome studio. And partners are really how it goes around. As a nonprofit, Prevent+Ed could not do what it does without the generous support, not just financial, a lot of times in kind, studio space, holding an event for us. We couldn't do what we do without partners. So for the third time in studio, we have a representative from Faith Oakville, but new with me today is Katie Bixler. She is the Director of Community Outreach and Events for Faith. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
So you love podcasts and doing the public speaking thing, don't you, Katie?
I'll go when I need it.
All right. So you're here because we are promoting the fourth
Stomp Out Addiction Walk.
Stomp Out Addiction Walk. Talk to us a little bit about the walk in general. Give us just some logistics, and then we'll kind of go into some other things.
Okay. Stomp Out Addiction Walk is held at Faith Oakville in the fall, October 13th this year. And it is a 2-mile family-friendly walk that leaves from our church parking lot down Cliff Cave Park. And
kind of right on Telegraph, right?
Yep. And before the walk, we have community resource booths and coffee culture truck and things for young adults and children to just be in community with one another while supporting Prevent+Ed.
So we're going to dive into some of the new things that you have up your sleeve this year, because this is the first year that you've been involved, you've been on the planning committee.
Yep.
How long have you been on staff at Faith?
I've been on staff for 5 years.
Okay.
Crazy.
But before that, what were you doing?
My background is in nonprofit development, so working with volunteers and planning events, which just kind of ran on over into my volunteer role at church, which then became an employment opportunity.
And so you were working at St. Patrick's Center? Where else have you worked?
Yes, I worked for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation before I worked for
Did they just
church.
Scoop you up? Were they hey, you have these talents and skills and we want you to work for us? Or how did that come about?
You mean church?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've gone to church at Faith Oakville for a long time.
Okay.
And
so you've been a member. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
A member?
I would say yes.
Okay.
A church attendee.
Attendee.
I've been attending church.
I grew up Catholic, so I was going to say what is
parishioner?
Parishioner, but that's not right.
No.
Okay. All right. So you've been you've gone to church there for a while.
A long time.
Okay.
Yeah. My husband and I, and after we had our youngest child, we decided that it was time for me to cut back a little bit on my hours. So I was volunteering at church.
Cool.
With some of my free time. And then it kind of morphed over the years into the role it is now.
Awesome. And are you full-time?
No, I work part-time.
And that's because so you can balance kids and all that stuff, because you have 2 kiddos.
I do have 2 little kids. Yep.
Awesome. So you have been a part of the planning for this walk, and so if you don't mind, could you speak to, and when I've had Pastor Brandon on before and Pastor Chris, we've really talked a lot about, and I don't think it can be overstated, but we've talked a lot about sort of the approach that Faith Oakville has in terms of community outreach, in terms of getting, away from just the traditional, we're going to hear the message, we're going to take communion, and then we're going to go home. Like, it just seems like a different vibe. And it's felt that way even when I was there on Sunday. You know, there was a lot of conversation about getting out in community and all the different life groups and things. Is that, and feel free to talk as much or as little as you want to about this, but is that like a Lutheran thing? Is that a Faith Oakville thing? Is that a 2024, like, this is where we are and this is what we need to do thing? Or like, and is it, do you see the difference from your church to other churches? I do personally, but I don't know if you do.
Yeah, I don't attend a lot of other churches. So
I mean, me neither, Katie, but
one. But I do know that Pastor Brandon and our lead pastor, it is their mission and vision that we are people connecting with people. Mm-hmm. So it is not what happens within our four walls. It's what happens within our outside our four walls. And so we're always looking for ways that we can be a light to the community. Mm-hmm. And so we're always encouraging and equipping and trying to empower the people that go to our church to be Jesus where they live, work, and play. That's kind of their...
Be Jesus where you live, work, and play.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At, whether you're volunteering or you're working or you're at school, how can you be on mission no matter where you are?
I mean, I feel like that's like what we're all trying to ask ourselves, right? Like whether you're like a faithful person or not, like, but how can you like your personal mission, like how can you be on mission? How can you be authentic? How can you show up at like where you live, work, and play? Mm-hmm. Like, that's exactly right.
Yep.
Like, have you always been a pretty faithful person?
Yeah, I would say that.
Did you grow up like Lutheran and everything?
I did. Yep.
Go to Lutheran schools, like the whole deal? Okay, come on, give me your origin story. Let's go.
I went to a Lutheran school in Michigan.
Oh, I forgot you're not from here. Right, okay.
I am a transplant.
Okay.
But now St. Louis home.
Okay. Lutheran, the Lutheran religion is like really big in the northern Midwest, right? Like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Yeah.
And here.
Kind
of like
why is that? Do you know?
It's like the Mecca because the Concordia, the seminary's here, and we are LCMS, which is founded in Missouri, so the headquarters are here too.
LCMS is
Lutheran Church Missouri Synod.
Oh, that's the one on Highway 40, the big building.
44.
Oh, 44. Okay.
And Lindbergh.
Oh, by Vianney High School.
Right in front of Vianney.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, can I ask you, like, layman? I'm glad I'm not asking a pastor this, but like I know.
I'm surprised I'm a church worker too.
No, I'm not surprised you're a church worker. Okay, so fun fact, you probably didn't know about this, those of you who have listened to me for a minute. I got my minor in world religions.
No.
And I was like, at one point in my life, I grew up very Catholic, and at one point I like seriously considered becoming a sister, like a nun. And then I was like, I don't know about that. But then I wanted to be like a lay missionary and like be like in, Chile and Colombia and whatever, like, just giving like of myself. That didn't really last, but that was a solid probably 6 years of my life where I really thought that I wanted to be that. I am embarrassed to admit this, but I don't know what makes Lutherans Lutheran. Do you know what I mean?
Let's go back to what you said.
Yeah.
You know how you said you wanted to be you wanted to give your life to the cause,
yeah.
But you give your life to this cause every single day.
It's
and
true.
These people.
It's so true. Yes, it is so true. I just, like, growing up, I grew up in such a... You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a called worker in order to give your life to bettering the community. This is why I like going to Faith, because you all make me feel so good about myself. No one's trying to convert me. Like, it's just so nice, and you make me feel very, like...
We all have different passions, and if we use them to do good, then...
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I mean, when I go into Faith, and it's like, okay, you've got men and women represented,
Mm-hmm.
which is real cool. You don't have female pastors,
No.
right? Okay. But you have like both, genders like doing the thing and you've got a full friggin' band,
Yeah.
like drums,
amazing.
like the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like, I mean, they're very talented, right? You have like the audio and the visual and whatever. And then when you have the message, it's not like when Pastor Sam was talking this weekend, it was, I mean, obviously like using the Bible and talking about the Bible. I loved, by the way, having a young person read.
Yeah, didn't Allie do such a great
Yeah,
job?
that was really cool. I mean, for me, like the more that we can involve young people, the better, right?
Yep.
So the fact that he's giving the message, he's talking about the Bible, but then he's also like talking about what that means for the people who go to faith, which is like he was saying, like, stop hoarding it, like spread the word. But it didn't give me the like willies. It wasn't like he was saying like go out and like convert everyone. He was just saying like
No.
open your friggin' hearts.
Yep.
Like that's pretty cool. Really.
Yep.
So
No.
is it just
But
like
it's
that all
not
the time at your
Our
church?
job isn't to convert people.
No. Thank you.
No. And that's not why we do events like the walk.
Yeah.
To convert people.
Right.
We do it to we want to have more connection and more community involvement, and we just want to bring awareness and, I don't know, support all parts of the community.
So in like a super non-judgmental way.
Right.
Like even the words that were being used about the walk and that are being used by you all and all of the messaging that you put out on social and whatever, like the words are non-stigmatizing, not judgmental. It's like we're not trying to like save anyone or somebody has sinned. Like it's so refreshing. And I know you're like laughing at me, but like
So funny.
it's really refreshing. Okay?
Well, I'm glad. But we have a good partnership with, Restoration House.
Yes.
And the Foster Closet. I'm going to say it wrong. Foster Together now.
Together. Love Laura.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Laura, if you're listening.
It's
That I
okay.
almost called you the Foster
She'll laugh.
Closet.
She's probably chuckling in her car as she's listening.
And there's no judgment. There's no judgment for foster families. Instead, it's how can we support you?
Yeah.
And the youth of Restoration House, there is judgment. We want to love on you. So we want to love on people who are in recovery and who suffer from addiction. And
you're trying to get upstream and prevent it too, which
Yes.
is really cool because you do a ton of work with young people,
yes,
which is awesome.
which,
That's
as a
that's my
parent, I
jam.
need that too. I need to know how to have hard conversations.
Mm-hmm. So what makes a Lutheran a Lutheran? You know?
I mean, what makes somebody who likes chocolate chip cookies
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
You go to a church that's Lutheran?
Right. I love that answer. So you went to Lutheran school and then you went to a Lutheran high school?
I went to a public high school.
Okay.
But Troy and I went to Valparaiso University, which is in Indiana.
Oh, that's your husband.
Troy, my husband. We met there,
Cool.
which also happens to be Lutheran affiliated. But
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
at least it was,
Okay.
15 years ago.
Cool. Okay. And so then after Valparaiso, then did you move to St. Louis?
Mm-hmm. I moved home for a year, and Troy moved here. He
Okay.
worked for Wachovia, which became something else,
Something.
and now is Wells Fargo.
Got it. Okay.
So, I think it was A.G. Edwards, then Wachovia.
Oh, okay. So you then kind of come here.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting settled. You're doing the nonprofit development kind of thing. He's in the finance banking world. You find a home church. Is that the right way of saying
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay. So you find a home church and you're getting involved and the kids are getting older and you're getting more involved. And then they're like, hey,
Yeah.
you want to take over the walk?
Peg you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had we had a couple of people retire last year.
Yeah.
Our dear friend Mary.
Mary.
And so
And you worked alongside Mary for a while. And Mary was like, okay, if anybody's going to take this thing over, it's going to be Katie.
She's a wonderful mentor and has a lot of faith in me.
Awesome. So you are keeping things the same.
Yep. But
you're also adding a couple of new things this year. So could you talk a little bit about maybe some of the new and different things we're doing at the walk? And it's a lot of people. Like my first year, I was like, I wonder how many people are going to come to this. But you actually this is the service that day, right?
Right. Out of the seats into the streets.
That's right. I love that.
There isn't church as we know
average,
church, but for
400 people. That's a lot. All wearing T-shirts and everything.
Yep.
Out of the seats into the streets. So talk a little bit about new stuff you're excited about and the flow of the day.
Okay. Things I'm excited about. Since we've had the walk for a couple of years, some people just show up to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So this year with the coffee culture truck being there.
Which is Robert Riley's truck. If people are familiar, he has a brick and mortar and a truck, and it's in South County, and the coffee and cookies are awesome.
Yep. Phenomenal.
Yes.
And also, not sure, a cause close to their heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Very connected to the mission.
And so in order to get a free coffee from Coffee Culture.
You can pay $6, but why would you pay $6? Because listen to what you could do, y'all. To get a free coffee.
Visit some booths. So you get a little punch card, Go to visit some booths, meet a new person, and get yourself a free coffee.
Awesome.
That's what the event is about.
Great.
Being community, so be in community and get yourself a free coffee.
There's resources there, obviously Prevent+Ed, but also a lot of the fellowship groups like AA, NA, Al-Anon, things like that. Heal Stop Heroin will have a booth there. NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, I think is what their name stands for. Crush, the coalition will be there. Lots of resources.
Yes.
So you want people to walk around, get their punch card.
Check it out.
Get a coffee. Talk to me about for young adults. What's happening for young adults?
Yes. Ask Cole. Just kidding. He's a young adult at our church who's helping us organize. I don't know. They've been going back and forth. The young adults have been talking about bringing out a kickball game.
Whoa.
Or they've been throwing ideas around amongst themselves. So
TBD.
Yeah.
But we know
I'm not
one
a young
thing,
person. I'm a millennial. So
one thing that we'll have for all kinds of people over the age of 21 is Sans Bar will be there.
Yes.
Right? So we'll be having mimosas, which is not just orange juice for people listening. People are like, oh, just orange juice? No, we put a little spin on it. And Prevent+Ed's young professionals will be there serving drinks for people over the age of 21. And then there'll also be a couple of other different fun sparkling waters and things like that. That'll be no cost for participants. The panel. You want to talk about the panel a little bit?
Sure.
Because this is different.
During the kickoff of the walk, so the event itself will start at 9, and everyone will hang out on our parking lot. We'll have a live band.
Parking lot party.
Yeah. And then at some point in the morning.
TBD.
I don't want to tell times because I don't want people to wait
exactly.
until they get there.
You're coming at 9. If you show up at 9.
9 o'clock.
That's when the fun starts. Is
get
at
your
9.
Punch card.
You don't want FOMO. Come at 9.
And then we'll have a kickoff before we actually walk on the trail. And
with live music.
And during that kickoff, you and Pastor Brandon, our pastor of mission, will interview a few people who have different experiences with recovery and addiction. And it'll be super great. And
so there'll be a member from the faith community who is in recovery or who has been touched by the cause. We are bringing on one of our young people who has benefited from our prevention work and is just doing, just amazing things. We'll probably talk a little bit about Prevent+Ed for those people that don't know about us. Yep. Let me just ask a dumb basic question. Do you have to be a member of the faith community to come to this walk?
No.
And do you have to be Lutheran to come to this walk?
No. That is the hope.
Great.
That is not people. We don't want it to be just our people.
Correct.
We want it to be a support of people who are in recovery, people who might still, or people who love somebody who has an addiction, or just parents like me who need to be educated. And I don't think there is anyone who can say that they don't fall under those three.
That's right. There'll be
I think a lot of us fall under all three categories.
I think that's right. I know I do. There'll be some fun stuff for kids.
Yep.
You know, so your kiddos, they're not going to be left behind. And usually they just like end up playing anyway, which is cool. Who are you walking for? That I think is always one of the most poignant times.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little bit about how we're remembering folks who we've lost to substance use disorder?
Yeah. There's this family that comes to the walk every year. I don't even know if you're...
I do know what you're going to say.
And they make these shirts. So anyway, the whole time we've had the walk, maybe not all the time, but who are you walking for? And it could be, I could write for my kids, right?
Yeah, because you want to prevent it.
I could also write family members who I know are in recovery, and family members who should be attending a few more meetings than they currently are. But anyway, all of us are touched, but there's this family who comes, who are you walking for? And they make these shirts every year, and it has a picture of their loved one whom they've lost. And
the person who they've lost is a son, and he's a dad.
A dad, and his
and
son
the little
wears
kiddos
this shirt,
come, and it's...
even if we held the walk and no one else came and this one family came.
I know. It would be worth it,
and
right?
we had one day to love on these people who've lost this important man in their life. It would be worth it.
It is.
It is so touching, and it is just...
The little kiddos in like the oversized T-shirts
that
go down to their knees, and they're there, to celebrate, and to memorialize him, and to make sure that, cause I've talked with the family, and they're there to make sure that their kiddos are aware, but also aren't destined to repeat it, right? And you all do this really cool thing. I think we're doing it again with the bibs.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if they're called bibs, but it's like when you're like running a marathon or
Instead
something.
of having a number, it says, who are you walking for?
Right.
You can pin it to yourself.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be such a tragic story.
Right. No.
And this family doesn't make it tragic
Not
either.
at all.
Like they don't. I'm sure there can be such a stigma to knowing somebody who's overdosed or passed away due to drugs and alcohol, and that has nothing to do with the walk.
No, it really doesn't. There are people, there's what I have been struck by the last couple of years, and I don't know that you know this necessarily. I know Mary does. There's a lot of people who are brought in by someone else who are very new in their recovery, like everything from a couple of days to a couple of hours, to maybe a year. And they are walking for themselves, and they are trying their very best to surround themselves with people who are there to support them. Again, not to put a certain ideology on them about religion, about the particular kind of self-help group you need, about, you need treatment and here's what it looks like. No, like it is literally a chance to build community and connection. That's really what it is.
Yep.
And last year, there was a man who I knew. He and I sat around, do you know this story? He and I sat around tables, different coalitions and different things like that, really trying to solve the problem. And then he stopped coming to coalition meetings, and didn't really know what had happened, and turns out that he had had a reoccurrence, otherwise known as a relapse.
Mm-hmm.
No one really knew where he was. Last year, I am up on the stage at Faith, and I walk out to, just kind of chat with people after the service, and he comes up to me, and he's like, "Do you remember me?" Well, how could you forget, right? And I said, "I remember you. How are you?" And he's like, "I am 4 days sober." He's like, "And I was at a meeting, and somebody said, 'I'm going to church. You want to come with me?' And he walked into the church, sees me up there talking about Prevent+Ed, used to be NCADA. He's like, 'I'm here for the right reasons.' And then came to the walk. Like, that gives me, like, goosebumps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that the walk is a great opportunity to just feel the power of connection. It's pretty incredible.
It's very incredible. Yep. And
Why are you speechless? Talk to me.
I don't know. It's just there's so much community, and it's easy to support organizations like, foster care, or the pregnancy center, or our church supports a lot of things, but some people don't see the value.
Mm-hmm.
But
But you do.
There is so much. There's so much.
Yeah, you see the value.
Yeah. And I think if people took a chance and came out to the walk, they would also see the value.
I couldn't agree
Just
more.
gotta go.
I couldn't agree more.
Get out of your seat and get into the street or the parking lot, however you
Whatever.
want to say it.
And the walk is not like
It's not intimidating.
tenuous.
It's
No,
not
I mean,
intimidating.
it's relatively
Nothing about it.
flat. You can turn around at any time.
Yep.
It's a big group of people, or you could walk by yourself if you want. I mean, it's not like the El Camino.
And you don't have to be
like,
able.
It's not
You don't have to walk to come to the event.
right. Absolutely, that's exactly right.
If you're listening to this and you want to come, just show up. That's fine too.
Awesome. So October 13th.
Yep.
9 a.m.
Yes.
If people do want to walk and want a shirt, how much does that cost?
$30.
$30. Okay. And there's food there, right? If you visit tables, you get free coffee.
Yep.
Free music, entertainment. What else do you want to say about this? What am I not asking?
I don't know. I think you got it all covered.
Okay.
Bring a friend.
Love that. Love that. You don't have to say anything, but I'm going to just tell you that the partnership Prevent+Ed has with Faith has become one of our most valuable. And is the money great? Sure. It's awesome because it goes to pay for things that other grants and contracts don't pay for, right? The funding is typically so prescriptive. It says you have to spend it on this. You can only buy 1 tablecloth. You can't buy 3 tablecloths. You can't buy, whereas like when fundraisers like these happen, third-party events, it allows more flexibility. And so that means that if you have a person who comes in who needs help, we can get that help, even if maybe they're a little outside of the typical age we do, or maybe the geography that, other grants really bind us to, or, well, we ran out of Narcan and we're waiting for the shipment to come in, but you know what? Like, we need a little bit more to keep people alive. Or, oh, this school wants something just slightly outside of the box and we wouldn't be able to do that. Well, now we can. But it's not just about the money. It's about the sustained partnership. When I was there on Sunday, I cannot tell you how many people came up to say, thank you for being here. Thank you all for what you do. You've helped our family. Thank you for the disposal bags. We've gotten rid of our medicine because, we knew that was a danger to our kiddos. We've gotten some help. Like, it's those kinds of sustained partnerships that allow people to trust. Yep. So thank you for being the person making this happen.
Your willingness to take partnering with a church stigma away, because
let's just get away from that, okay? Let's get away from that. I mean, churches are cool. Like, they're okay. This is a person who doesn't attend, but then I walk into Faith and I'm like, maybe I should give this church thing a try.
I was just gonna say,
yeah. I mean, well, when I tell people I'm going to church, they're like, oh, you're going to Faith. Like, they know that y'all don't freak me out. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment, like for real. So,
And you mean that as the church as a whole, not me.
oh, well, you obviously freak me out. Obviously, you freak me out. No, seriously, you're fantastic. The whole team. I know y'all are busting your butts to make this successful, and like it's amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Y'all, you have no excuse. October 13th, 9 a.m. Come out to see Katie, if nothing else, and say hello. If you liked what you heard, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to The PrevenTable. Thanks again. See you next time. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us at The PrevenTable, brought to you ad-free by Prevent+Ed. Prevent+Ed works to reduce or prevent the harms of alcohol and other drug use through education, intervention, and advocacy. Please visit their website at PreventEd.org. Like what you heard? Rate, review, and subscribe to stay up to date with what we are serving on The PrevenTable.